This is a movie called The Cabin in the Woods, and I've actually seen this movie before, and I can say it was pretty satanic and messed up. It basically, as we see here, they were selected and multiplied by an organization to fully embody specific in order to complete a ritual. The heroes or the victims of the movie are somewhat unidimensional. We soon learn that they are manipulated to become that way. As the movie progresses, many key aspects of the occult elite and its way of functioning are described in vivid detail. Medicated mega rituals, occult secret societies, mind control, high-tech monitoring, and so forth. At the end of the movie, one might realize that these scared and confused teenagers running around and falling into traps are us, aka the masses. Let's look at the elements found in the movie and analyze the full significance. The nameless organization. At the beginning of the movie, we see 5 friends hopping into a van and driving to a cabin in the woods, hence the title of the movie, where fun, alcoholic and teenage frolicking awaits. The pals, however, don't know that this weekend of apparent partying is in fact a big ritual sacrifice conducted by a high-level intentional organization. Never named in the movie, the organization behind the blood sacrifice unities high-tech facilities across the world and appears to have a great amount of resources and employees. Can we associate this organization with the occult elite, the New World Order, and its secret facilities? Yes, we can. Simply looking at the command center, we understand that that is not a small Calstone operation, but a highly sophisticated organization dealing with military tracking equipment that is only available at the highest governmental levels. The organization's sole purpose is to set up high-level mega rituals involving the death of civilians across the world in order to appease dark forces beneath the earth. These rituals are made possible through the manipulation of certain individuals into doing certain things, causing them to unknowingly become participants in an occult ritual. This content has been discussed several times on this site as mega rituals involving symbolic elements and blood sacrifices do happen in real life, where everything is staged and set up to obtain maximum exposure and magic potentially. Although this is a very obscure and taboo subject, some occult researchers have determined that many medicated events are actually mega ritual carried out to fulfill specific occult objectives. Whether we go as far as Jack the Ripper or as recently as the Batman killings, some murders are actually set up to follow specific rules and to imprint society with specific symbols. Of course, many serial murders are nothing more than the work of a single individual acting out a graphic horror movie he saw, or responding to powerful psychotic impulses for aggression and predation, but many other serial murders involve a cult protected by the US government and the corporate media with strong ties to the police. These murders are actually choreographed rituals performed first on a very intimate and secret scale among the inter themselves in order to program them on a grand scale, amplified incredibly by the electronic media. In the end, what we have is a highly symbolic ritual working broadcast to millions of people, a satanic inversion, a black mass, where the pews are filled by the entire nation, and through which humanity is paganized, brutalized, and debased in the Nigerian phase of electoral process. The issue of controlling humanity with extra words and symbols encoded within a play, a media spectacular, or a ritual is one of the most difficult for people to comprehend. That is why most people are viewed with utter contempt as cold ones, the profane, the Gentiles, and the cattle by secret society indicates. I think we are from Charles Fort said of humanity, it was a thought who also suggested that man deliberately invented the dogma and materialism in order to shield himself from the evidence of what was being done to him by means of psycho-spiritual warfare methods hyped by coincidence, symbolism, and ritual. Although the above quote was written more than 20 years ago, it perfectly describes the plot of The Cabin and the Woods, which is in turn describes mega rituals in a direct but very carnage natural matter. By doing so, the movie reveals the elite's way of functioning. Why fictionalize it? It puts everything out in the open while making people believe that it's just a movie. While there is a lot of satire and foolishness in the movie, its underlying concept is truer than most would believe. The shady organization carries out rituals across the world, some of which succeed and others fail. Most are made to appear as accidents, and those that succeed are widely publicized across the world. The elite organization, as powerful as it is, only obeys the will of the dark forces called the ancients and the gods. Now this is complete garbage, we know that. It ain't God, it's just called Satan, the devil. That's who they really follow, it's Satan and the demons and the fallen angels. The technicians overseeing the ritual are actually members of an elite brotherhood, and their job is to make sure rituals are complete. After the death of the first victim, we see one of the technicians reciting a dark prayer and then kissing a pendant bearing the secret society's magical symbol. Like in real life, some operations that appear to be about science and paganism are actually motivated by very obscure and occult reasons. So the US branch of this shady organization manipulates 5 All-America students to go spend a weekend in a remote cabin in the woods. The cabin is set up in an environment that is totally artificial and controlled by the puppet masters. In fact, the cabin and its surrounding is one big TV recording studio complete with mics and cameras, mind-altering drugs to control the actors, and remote control doors and lights and effects. As we see, basically at the end of the film, one of them tries escaping on a motorbike, and he ends up hitting this wall, this invisible wall, and he dies. Basically tries jump over to the other side with a motorbike and fails. This wall just appears out of thin air. As the teenagers drive towards the cabin's location, we realize that they are entering a virtual zone that is totally created by and controlled by the organization inside of it. The teenagers become puppets at the hand of high-level, high-tech puppet masters, the sacrificial lambs. As we see the satanic symbols. Once they arrive at the cabin, the teenagers are made to embody Pacific in order to complete the ritual drama required by the gods. If therefore needs to be carried out in a Pacific matter, and it needs to completely recorded and televised, the gods require the death of 5 Pacific in the ritual drama: the athlete, the fool, the scholar, and the virgin. Why does it have to be a virgin though? We all know why. Because a virgin with the Illuminati is known as basically a powerful sacrifice. In the Brotherhood's temple are displayed stone tablets representing each archetype that needs to be slain. This one represents the... I don't know what that word says, I really don't. Right from the start of the movie, the character named Jules Loudon plays the role of the A bomb that appears to be aroused by anything. During her short stay at the cabin, she constantly feels the urge to talk about doing it or to dance like a stripper. We, however, learn that Jules is not being herself. She was drugged and manipulated to become a profitable whore. Upon closer look, an astute viewer might realize that Jules Loudon bears many characteristics of a sex kitten mind control slave. The first scenes involving Jules emphasize the fact that she dyed her hair blonde in mind control symbolism. Blonde hair is used to identify better kittens. Marilyn Monroe programming. We then learn that the puppet masters laced her hair dye with chemicals to reduce congregation and to augment her libido. So Jules is not actually a whore. She was manipulated and drugged into becoming one, the same way the elite uses mind control to make regular girls become better kittens. Think of many slutty celebrities that started off normal. In the cabin, Jules displaying typical behavior of an MK slave victim of better programming. Better is referred to as a sexual programming slaves. This programming eliminates all learned moral convictions and stimulates the primal instinct. Devout or inhabitants cat alters may come out at this level. The most obvious example of better kitten behavior occurs when Jules is dared to make out with a wolf head mounted on the cabin wall. She engages in a disturbingly long make-out session with the wolf, one promoting bestiality. Head, as her friends awkwardly watch, the scene ends with Jules saying thank you to the wolf, confirming that the drugs she was given completely eliminated her inhibitors. Jules is getting a lot of pleasure making out with this wolf head because she was programmed to accomplish such tasks. Is only one of the twisted things actual better kittens are ordered to do. by their handlers, the puppet masters make it clear that Jules needs to be sacrificed first because she is a whore and therefore corrupted. This needs to happen in a very specific matter. In order to follow dark occult principles, the techniques want her to be killed during coitus and more specifically when she is nearing climax. Magic principles stimulate that individuals accumulate the most life force during the moments right before climax. Sacrificing a person right at that moment would therefore ensure the most magical potential to a ritual. The technicians closely monitor Jules with the job, hoping that she will take her shirt off, examining the ritual to an outsider who doesn't understand why she must undress herself. A technician says, "We're not the only ones watching. Got to keep the customer satisfied. You understand what's at stake here." In other words, the ritual needs to be graphic and fully broadcast to be considered a success, something we see in real life without even realizing it. After a few minutes of frolicking, which gets the teenager and the viewers excited, Jules gets viciously attacked by a zombie right when she's near climax. The outcome of corruption and death is characteristic of the dark rituals and is also featured in underground snuff films. I don't know whether people know about this, but it's not advised to look up. Snuff movies were on the deep web, basically. It's basically murder porn. Basically, they would kill somebody, kill them and then perform sexual acts. I'm not really going to go into the detail because it's completely disgusting and the most vile thing to ever exist. But this is what goes on. Snuff films, you just even have to look it on Google and you'll see that it exists. Snuff films circulated in elite circles. In short, Jules' death was planned according the occult elite's way of functioning. Basically, they would get off over somebody being killed or somebody being tortured because they're sick. They feel like in most horror movies invoking teens, there is some kind of stoner in the pack providing comic relief, always smoking a joint. The character named Marty plays the role. Interestingly enough, the fool is also quite the conspiracy theorist. Inside the van, it explains how society is being heavily monitored through cameras. Notice how they say that he's a Notice how they say he's a fool though, and he's a nutcase, and how somehow he's a drug addict. That's basically the saying here that all people that are awake to the truth are basically smoking joints. They always say this. On chips inside children's heads, he states that one must sometimes go off the grid to escape the madness. Of course, he says all of these things while rolling a joint, subtly telling the viewers only paranoid potheads are against microchips and state monitoring. To make things worse, Marty then shows a finished joint to Jules and tells her, "I'll make you see things my way," meaning that being aware equals being on drugs, which is complete lies. And basically they're saying that all Christians and that are awake, they're all on drugs. This is what they do in the media. They love to make fun of this is how they do it. They basically say this, it's solely so they can get away with it and they can carry on doing what they're doing. When they say, oh, these rituals and that don't go on, these people are just nuts in the head. They're just nuts. The conspiracy theorists, this doesn't go on. The government doesn't lie to you. We don't lie to you. These people are just nuts. I mean, they've always said it for ages, and it's the same garbage all the time. As discussed, congregation and 2012 conspiracy theorists or anyone with non-mainstream views are always depicted as loons with little to no credibility. As I said, Martin in the cabin in the woods accomplishes the same function. While he says things that are believed by many people, we still almost hear a cuckoo sound effect in the background while he discusses microchips and such. This is what they do, and it's just ridiculous, because the elite are just going to be destroyed, because this is how they basically manipulate the media and the masses. They say, oh, these people are just nuts. There's no such thing as the devil. That's how they keep mankind enslaved, because they know whatever they put out in the media, people are going to soak it up. The fool, however, turns out to be right about a lot of things, and tries to convince his friends about the conspiracy that are involved, and of course they didn't listen. Exactly what we come across as Christians. We try to tell people about stuff, and all we really do is get insulted or called names, because that's what the Illuminati's programmed in people's minds. They are involved in, as it is often the case, nobody believes him until it is too late, because after all, he is the fool. Well, later, see how he'll turn out to be an unlikely hero, while also destroying the world. The virgin, in most cultures that practice rituals, sacrifices, virgins were considered to be the highest quality, as I said. Offerings, due to the fact that they were considered pure, clean, uncorrupted, and innocent, they were untamed by man and the world, and were therefore perceived as holy and the most spiritually potent. The character named Dana Polk was made to play that role in the ritual drama. Although she isn't actually a virgin, there's apparently not many teenage virgins available nowadays. Yeah, because we all know why. Because of the media promoting having sex at a certain age is great. Although she appears to be the weakest and the most vulnerable of the victims, the virgin ended up being an unlikely hero. For the ritual to be complete, Dana needed to outlive all of her friends, and her death was optional. The important thing is that she suffered, as the puppet masters need captive pain and punishment on camera, a fetish of the real-life dark forces. And this is actually going on. It's not fake, it's not lie. This is what the elite get off on. This is what pleasures them. Sick stuff like this. Child molestation. They get off on it. They get off on basically torturing someone. A lot of them, this goes on a deep web, as I've said many times. The elite pay, high up power, pay to go to these places to watch somebody be tortured so they can get off on it. And it's sick. Dark forces behind the Illuminati. In fact, the ritual in the cabin in the woods follows a specific protocol that is similar to the actual rituals carried out by the occult elite. Here are some of them. Rules of the ritual. Most mega rituals follow specific rules that are clearly spelled out in the movie. These rules are made to give the rituals more potentially while allowing the powers that be to avoid the negative effects of bad karma, according to their weird interpretation of it. First rule announcing what will happen beforehand. On their way to the cabin, the teenagers meet an unsavory character dubbed the Harbinger that warns them in not so subtle ways that they will be killed despite the warnings. The friends resolutely carry on, so basically warned them and they didn't listen. As seen in previous articles, this site, mega rituals are often preceded by clues in mass media. Very true. I mean, look at 9/11. It was all over the place in cartoons and movies for years before it happened. Same with the shootings and all that. It's all planned. Because to base the real truth, to basically bring upon the Antichrist, they have to cause so much death, so much chaos and all that. That's why they do what they do. Because the elite are trying to bring the Antichrist, and it's not going to happen until the end times, but they really want it to happen now. That's why they're doing what they're doing. In the mass media, warning or preparing the victims and the world for what's coming. If after being warned victims go on by their own free will, then the puppeteers are liberated from karmic responsibility. During the movie, one technician says they have to make the choice of their own free will. This is exactly what the Rockefellers believe as well. This is exactly what they believe with 9/11. They believe, that's why they put it out in movies, comics, cartoons and everything. Because they basically believe if we warn them in movies and that years before it happens, if they don't wake up, that basically the elite are saying it's your own fault. That's basically what they're saying. That's why they basically put it in movies all the time. Because they believe that if they've basically put it in movies and that, and people haven't seen it or woke up, that suddenly they're going to get away with it. Their own free will, otherwise the system doesn't work. It's like the Harbinger, the creepy old who is particularly wearing a sign saying you will die. Why do we put him here? The system, they have to choose to ignore him. They have to choose what happens in the cellar. Yeah, we rig the system as much as we need to, but in the end, if they don't transgress, they can't be punished. This concept is often seen in real life where victims of ritual sacrifice place themselves in a specific situation. All through, they have been thoroughly manipulated to do so. See MK victims dying from an overdose. That's what they always seem to say, an overdose, and we know otherwise they've been killed. And I mean, of course, look at this satanic picture on the wall. In one of the cabin's rooms is a painting depicting a lamb being torn to pieces by all kinds of vicious creatures. This is yet another way the victims are subtly warned of what is bound to happen. However, since the kids have no idea of what's happening, they simply ignore it. This can be compared the elite hiding in plain sight, warning and predictions about the New World Order in public places. See the morals at the Denver International Airport. See, the Illuminati do basically put it in plain sight, but many people just ignore it. The Illuminati have put most of their plans in plain sight for generations. I mean, just look at the Illuminati game card. All their plans are in plain sight. They're just carrying them out. Second rule, the victims must seal their own fate. Although every aspect of their environment is tightly controlled and manipulated by the puppet masters, the victims are still made to choose their fate by their own free will. By reading cryptic Latin phrases inside a book, the 5 friends summoned themselves the redneck zombie that will tirelessly want to kill them. By triggering the killers themselves, the puppeteers are free from current responsibility. Although the above concepts are extremely obscure, they are clearly defined and communicated in the movie. They are a reflection of the occult elites, aka the Illuminati. His particular way of functioning, where nothing is obvious and everything is manipulated behind the scenes in order to obtain a specific result. Ancient blood sacrifices were accomplished out in the open with participants that knew what was happening. Not that I'm idealizing those days, but today it is about deceit and manipulation with any empathy placed on suffering and anguish, something that only those dealing in black arts would reveal upon discovering exactly what was happening, Marty the Stoner says. A ritual sacrifice, great. You tie someone to a stone, get a fancy dagger and a bunch of robes. It's not that complicated. To which the Virgin replies, it is simple. They don't just want to see us killed, they want to see us punished. Who wins in the end? The ending of the movie is very telling, yet very unsettling. In order for the ritual to be complete, Marty must die before the Virgin. If this doesn't happen, the ancient evil gods will rise and kill everyone on Earth. When asked to kill himself to save the world, Marty refuses, knowing very well he'll be killed anyways by the evil gods. Dana and Marty then light up a joint and wait for the gods to rise. Dana says it's time to give someone else a chance. Giant evil gods. And this is what happens. Then a giant hand rises up from beneath the earth, kills everyone, and then reaches out to grab the movie viewers, and that's how the movie ends, with an evil god grabbing the viewer. The big winner of the movie, an evil god, aka Satan himself. Obviously it's Satan. I mean, look at the black and red hand. So in the end, the only winner of the movie is a giant evil god rising up straight from hell, one that could be equated to Satan. And I'm a break religious. Dana and Marty, the heroes of the story, therefore willingly allowed the evil god to rise up and to take over the earth. The heroes brought about the worst ending possible, one of the movie's original twists that kept the audience guessing. It nevertheless has an important symbolic meaning and tells a lot about those who are behind the movie. In retrospect, were the puppeteers the good guys or the bad guys? they were sadistic jerks carrying out an occult ritual, but they were also trying to save the world from the wrath evil gods. The Cabin in the Woods is a hit with movie fans due to its wit and its study of the horror film Janine. However, going past these obvious remarks, the story of the movie conceals another layer of interpretation. It reveals the Illuminati's occult way of functioning in order to maintain power and to imprint the group mind with symbols, using rituals and sacrifices. The organization in the movie uses an odd mixture of scientific knowledge with odd world occult rituals to carry out its plans. While this story is pure fiction, it also reveals in a strange way how the occult elite truly function. That being said, can we equate the clueless teens in the movie to the clueless masses? Can we equate the Cabin in the Woods to today's highly monitored and controlled society, or are being supposedly monitored through mind control, mass media, and meds to make us all fall into traps? Are we being purposely dumbed down like these kids in order for us to do the elite's bidding by our own free will? Is the movie The Cabin in the Woods to the Hardbringer in the movie, who communicates a grave warning to people that are too clueless to understand any of it? As Marty the Stoner says, you are not seeing what you don't want to see. Basically, the truth is put in plain sight, and basically they're saying that, well, a lot of it, we are dumbed down. Well, the masses of the world are dumbed down, because I'm well awake to the satanic New World Order. I'm awake to the system and the whole corruption of it. I'm not asleep, I've been awake for years.